Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So you are ready to purchase your very first designer or luxury handbag. Where do you start? This is the question that I got from one of my lovely subbies. She DM'd me on Instagram and she said to me, can you make a video about buying your first designer handbag? I have this extremely long list of options and it's very overwhelming to just pick one. Any tips on how to choose? So apparently I have a lot of opinions on this topic, and I think this video is going to be a little bit longer than my usual videos. So if you want to pause now, go grab a cup of tea or a drink or a snack so that you can just sort of relax while you're watching this. By all means, go ahead and do that. This is meant to be enjoyable. I did prepare some eye candy here, just a few of my bags from my collection that I pulled out. Well, I will say this is the majority of my designer bags for sure. I've only left out a few pieces. But I wanted to show you some eye candy and some examples of what I'm talking about as I go through this video. But there are basically 5 main factors that I would recommend you consider before splurging on your first luxury handbag. And those 5 factors include the brand that you'll be shopping from, the design of the bag, and that actually constitutes many things, including size, shape, weight, capacity, whether that's a top handle bag, a crossbody, shoulder, tote. Many things constitute the design or make up the design of the bag, so I'll spend some time on that. Also the style, color, and material. That's another sort of bucket that I want to talk about. And then also, of course, we want to talk about budget, because you don't want to spend your hard-earned money on something that is not going to last or something that you're not going to enjoy for a long time. So let's talk about budget. Also, at the very end, we'll talk about how do you research properly so that you can choose the right piece for yourself, the one that fits your lifestyle, your needs, your wardrobe, and where do you also research potentially buying either something discounted, on sale, or on the pre-loved market. So I'll cover those broad kind of 5 areas like I mentioned. And then at the very end of the video, I will also share my profile, that's what I'm calling it, my bag profile, of all of my preferences when it comes to the bags that I purchase. This is something that I have come to know over the years. It's not something I knew right away. You'll find that as I go through some of my older bags, like that Gucci sitting over there, that was my very, very first designer or luxury handbag ever, and I still have it for sentimental reasons, but I have not used it for many, many years. So I'll talk about how my tastes and my preferences and also my lifestyle has changed over the years, over the last 20 years or so. Okay, so I do hope this video is helpful. Just sit tight because I'm going to get into a lot of detail here. So the very first thing, and by the way, I just want to say thank you to Chloe. This was requested by her, and Chloe, if you're watching, I'm sure you're watching because you requested this. Hi dear, thank you very much for reaching out and suggesting this video. Okay, so the very first thing I will say is you probably have a brand that you gravitate towards. Most people do. So here I've got Saint Laurent, Chanel, Louis Vuitton, Givenchy, Gucci, Valentino, Prada. I mean, Celine, it kind of runs the gamut, but there are brands that I just don't gravitate towards for whatever reason, just the style or the aesthetic doesn't speak to me. For example, you will not see a Fendi or a Balenciaga. I also don't own Bottega Veneta. I think that Bottega Veneta makes absolutely stunning leather bags, but the braided look for some reason for me doesn't work for me. Some bags I think add to your look, some take away, some do nothing. You know, you just kind of have to figure out your sweet spot. And yeah, there are plenty of other brands that just don't work for me. So Versace, I think, is super bold and stylish, but again, doesn't suit my aesthetic. I feel like I'm a little bit more understated. You can see here that I tend to stick to classics and also neutrals. So if you're looking for something that's a little bit different, then maybe that's outside of my comfort zone, but you just have to understand what your range is, right? So I would say come up with a list of the brands that you gravitate towards. Don't just look at the handbags, also maybe look at their their collections, their ready to wear, their shoes. Not that you have to buy them, but you'll get a feel for their vibe and whether or not their overall aesthetic speaks to you and kind of works for your personal style. Okay, so here are my brands that I gravitate towards. Whichever ones are yours is your own personal list. Then I'm going to talk about design. I think that's major. So you've got mini bags, you've got larger bags, you've got wallet on chain style bags, which are really slim and compact. You've got crossbody bags, shoulder bags, top handle bags. As you can see from here, I do tend to gravitate towards flap bags, meaning you see this is a flap. This is my Chanel wallet on chain, which I adore. This one also, my Saint Laurent Toy Lulu, is a flap, right? My Louis Vuitton Pochette Métis is a flap. The Celine box is a flap. All of these have flap closures. I really do, for some reason, enjoy the flap closures more so than the zippers. For example, this one is a smaller piece from Louis Vuitton. It's full at the moment, so it's full with my stuff. This has a simple design and it is just one zipper. This is actually considered a SLG, a small leather good, but I use it as a little mini bag. And this one works fine for me. It's okay, but as you can see, it's not my preference to get zippered bags. Also back here is my Givenchy Antigona in the mini size. So this one is also a zipper, and I love the style of this and the structure of this. However, I don't love the zipper just because sometimes it scrapes my hand. Not too much, but a little bit when I go in and out. So for whatever reason, I just really like the flap bags. I also think that I'm a very tactile person, as I mentioned on my channel before, and the feeling of opening and closing a flap and having a lock or a clasp, just it's fun for me. It's more fun than a zipper, if that makes any sense. So let me show you my Valentino back here. This one has a really fun clasp. You turn it, it's a turn lock, right? So that too is a flap bag. Of course, the Chanel Classic flaps that everyone is familiar with has a really nice turn lock here. This is my lambskin in the black with silver hardware. I actually love this piece here. I purchased it pre-loved. And then this one is a little bit newer. This is also a turn lock, and this is the Chanel Classic Clutch with chain. This has been discontinued, but I was able to score this in excellent condition on the pre-loved market from Rebag. So I'm showing you a lot of eye candy, but really it's more just examples to get you started and thinking, what do you gravitate towards? Also, there are shoulder bags, which, you know, pretty easy. You just sling them over your shoulder, right? There are also top handle bags. Now this one, my very, very first Gucci bag, my mother bought this for me when I was probably 19 or so, going off to college, 18 or 19, and so it's really special to me. But like I said, I have not worn this for many, many years. It just, first of all, it's pretty ratty because I use this almost daily. I loved it so much in the beginning. Your very first designer handbag, I think you're going to love it regardless. You're going to love it. At least if you pick the right one for you at the time, then you're going to use it a lot and it's going to get really beat up. So, you know, I think it's very important to be thoughtful about your first purchase. This one doesn't suit me now, but when I was in college, I loved top handle bags. And I didn't really think flap versus zipper at the time. Zipper was very easy for me, and you know, it's really secure. So actually this bag is over 20 years old, and even though it is beat up, I think it's held up quite well considering I've abused it. So, and then you think, okay, top handle, you also think material. Do you want canvas? Do you want leather? Is it heavy for you? For me, I will never ever buy a bag that's over 2 pounds. The Chanel Classic Jumbo, so this bag here in the jumbo size is gorgeous, but I will never ever get it. I guess never say never, but I will probably never get it because a lot of people who love that bag have also complained about the weight of it. When it's full, it's quite heavy. And I know a lot of people who have sold it. And I also know a lot of people who who love it and can't let it go, but it sits in their closet because it's not comfortable, and so they don't want to reach for it. And you don't want your first designer bag to be that. You want something that you're really going to use and appreciate and love. Now, if the weight of a bag is not important to you because you've got really strong shoulders and neck, or you drive a lot and you won't be walking very much with the bag on you, or whatever the case may be, then maybe a bag like the Chanel Jumbo is okay. So again, it goes right back to your personal preference. Now let me show you the bag all the way hidden back there. That is my very first Prada bag. So this one is pretty old as well, probably about 20 years old. As you can see, it's very similar to my Gucci, kind of like the bowler bag style. This is what I went for when I was younger. The top handle, it doesn't come with another strap. The zipper, I actually love this zipper. It's one zipper, but it looks like double. It's such a nice, intricate design here. I love this style. The leather is really pretty. It's got a nice sheen to it. Anyway, this one too I'm holding on to for sentimental reasons because my husband bought this for me way back when. I don't know if it was when we were dating or when we were engaged or what, but yeah, so this one is also special. But like I said, these top handle bags are just not suiting my lifestyle. Now that I'm a mom and living in Manhattan and I'm always on the go, I like to just grab and go and sling things over my shoulder, and crossbody is what works best for me. I love crossbody bags, okay? So is that what you want? So think about it. Do you need a large bag like a tote? Do you carry a lot on a day-to-day basis? Do you have to carry your laptop and work folders or materials, or do you just need a bag that's just large enough to have your daily essentials, like a more mini bag style, like the Toy Lulu? This one here, the Celine box, and also the Pochette Métis, I would say is probably more like medium size. So the other thing to consider is not just the size and the weight. And by the way, the Celine box is a little bit heavier than most of my other bags. But again, I'm very picky about the weight. It's fine. I can still manage it. But it is a little bit heavier just because it is all leather and it's got a lot of compartments on the inside. But it's a beautiful lambskin lined bag. The exterior is smooth calfskin. My point about this was, don't just look at the size of the bag, also think about the capacity, because even though the Celine box in the medium size, which is this one here, looks quite sizable, it actually fits a little bit less than the Pochette Métis. So for me, in terms of like real estate, the Pochette Métis takes up the same amount of real estate as the Celine box, but actually holds more in terms of capacity. So in my mind, this has more value. Now, granted, in terms of aesthetic, they're very different. You've got one really loud monogram one that's obviously designer, and you've got the Celine one that is more subtle, more discreet. I love this bag. This is a forever bag for me. I feel like this is just classic in terms of the silhouette and the style, and I can wear this on my shoulder or crossbody because it does have an adjustable strap. So just a lot of things to consider. I wouldn't just leap for the first kind of like hot item that you see all over Instagram or on Pinterest. You really want to be thoughtful about what works for you and think, you don't have to think, oh, it must be a bag that I'll wear forever and ever, because no, your life will change and your preferences will change, but maybe a bag that you will wear for at least 5 to 10 years and really enjoy and get good use out of, something that will be not too high maintenance and also durable. So that's the other thing in terms of design. Do you want something that is scratch resistant? Like this smooth calfskin has held up quite well for me, but I know that some people are intimidated because this could be easier to scratch and scuff than, let's say, canvas from Louis Vuitton, right? And lambskin, of course, is more fragile or a little bit more delicate than caviar, if you wanted to compare those two things. So those are the things I would consider. Also consider how the bag looks against you, your frame. So I am about 5 feet 5 inches tall, about 115 pounds or so, and these bags for the most part fit my frame, unless you want a bag that looks really teeny tiny and cute, or you want a bag that looks really oversized and big and slouchy on you, and those are the looks that you are specifically going for. I think you just want to be very thoughtful about how the bag fits your frame. It should probably make you feel just really comfortable. I like bags that either match my frame or make my frame appear smaller, if that makes any sense. So I don't go for like those teeny little tiny bags. I know some people use the Louis Vuitton mini pochette. Mine is hiding in here at the moment. And some of you put straps on the mini pochette and wear this as a cute little crossbody bag. And I actually think it's adorable to do that, but I don't like how it looks on me. First of all, my phone doesn't fit, so it's not practical. So you do have to think about the functionality. But also when I wear a small little bag like this on my hip, it just proportionally makes me look bigger. And maybe that's just me and it's in my head, but I do think about those things. I want it to be flattering. So let me put this back to the side. Okay, so aside from that, also compartments. Some people love compartments. I am one of those people. I love pockets and compartments. I feel like it keeps me organized and tidy. I just showed you the Celine box. You've got this sort of like accordion style. You can see plenty of compartments. Also, I will show you even in my mini bag here. In the Toy Lulu, you've got this is tissue paper, but you've got quite a few compartments considering how small the bag is. And then, of course, if you're familiar with the Pochette Métis, this one also very similar to the Celine box, has really nice pockets on the inside. You see that? So I love that. But some people don't like that because they want to just have one huge open main compartment and they will organize themselves. So if you are really into folders and pouches and, organizing your bag in that manner, then you probably don't care to have compartments. So definitely go to the boutiques, open up the bags, see the inside, feel it. You got to really check it out in person. I know sometimes you're not close enough to the stores, but at the very least, watch YouTube and just scour, like research by watching all the videos, because that's what I do before I buy a bag. I usually research like crazy, and if I don't find any good YouTube videos on a bag, and I happen to buy it and I love it, I will then immediately make YouTube videos because I want to put content out there for anyone who is looking for, more information. That's what I did with my Chanel clutch with chain. There was hardly any information. Oops. And so I made a bunch of videos right away because I know a lot of people had questions on this. And, photos are fine, but I think videos are just much more helpful in getting a feel for what fits inside, how it lays on the body, if you do mod shots and that sort of thing. So here, back pocket. That's the other thing. I love bags with back pockets. Does that matter to you? Do you care for that or not? Does it have to be a size that fits your phone, or do you not mind? Either way, those are things I would consider, and they're all part of the design element. So moving on, let's talk about then the next bucket, which is style, color, and material. So style, I'm going to say you can choose classic pieces, and classic is a little bit subjective, but to me, classic is like, simple silhouettes that do not go out of style. Nothing with too many embellishments, odd shapes. You could argue that the Givenchy Antigona is a bit unique or unusual and could go out of style because it is a very specific shape. For me, I think this is classic. I think for me, I will not get sick of it, but we'll see. Who knows? The other bags here as well, a lot of them are pretty classic in terms of their silhouettes. This is just, a simple rectangle with the signature Chanel quilting, the same with the classic flaps. Now this one here I think has a very simple silhouette, but you may get tired of the matelasse style quilting, who knows? A more simple version would be if it didn't have the Y, the Saint Laurent quilting. Also, do you want big logos like this? Do you want people to know that your bag is designer? Do you think it adds a little oomph to the bag, or do you think it takes away and you'd rather it be smaller? Personally, I would like this to be smaller or maybe hidden under here, but that's the only way they come out with this bag. So, things to consider. Color, again, I tend to gravitate towards neutrals. Because my wardrobe is neutral as well, I can easily mix and match without having to think twice. I do really want a pop of color. If you guys have been on my channel before, I'm really yearning for a pop of color. I tend to gravitate towards more bright colors for my smaller accessories and my smaller, SLGs. But I do want a bag that's more of a fun color, so we'll see if I if I ever eventually do that. But maybe you want a pop of color. Maybe you want monogram and logos, or maybe you want simple, clean lines or simple, solid colors, right? So things to consider again. Also, I will say that you want to think not only classic versus trendy. Like there's so many trendy, like hot it bags that they just go over my head because first of all, I'm not a trendy person. I'm not with it. Like I don't know all the hot trends. A lot of the hot trends don't even look good on me. It looks like it's not appropriate or I'm trying too hard. It just doesn't suit me. So I'm at the point in my life now where I know what silhouettes and what styles and colors really look good on me and what's flattering and what's not. So I stay away from all of the, sort of like hyped up it items for the most part, unless I personally just really, 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 really like it. The Pochette Matisse is an example where I hunted down this bag for over a year. I was very patient because I wanted this bag so badly. And it didn't matter that it was all over Instagram and that everyone seemed to have it. I just wanted it. It wasn't because everyone had it. In fact, it kind of irks me when everyone has the same bag, but hey, if you want it, you want it, right? It's all a matter of personal preference. And if other people happen to want it too, then so be it. Okay, so there's the classic versus the trendy. And then there's also seasonal. So this one, admittedly, I will say is a seasonal bag because this is made out of velvet. This is my Valentino Rock Stud in the medium size. It's got black velvet with gold or champagne hardware. It's a really, really pretty bag. It's lined underneath and on the inside with this buttery lambskin. But velvet is not a summer or spring bag. To me, it's definitely a winter bag, maybe fall. But I bought this thinking it would be perfect for like the festive season, the holidays, for parties. But it doesn't really suit my lifestyle. I don't really go out to parties very much with 2 kids, and it doesn't happen. So I'm not so sure this was a smart move, but I bought this because it was such a good price, and I just thought it was so pretty, and it looked like jewelry. I mean, the eye candy, it just popped out at me. But I'm going to touch on this when we talk about budget. Don't make that mistake of buying something, especially a designer handbag, just because it happens to be on sale or you got a great deal and it looks like too good of a deal to pass up. Because honestly, if it's not right for you, you're just wasting your money. I have never worn this bag. It is literally sitting on my shelf since the day I brought it home, and I hope to use it one day, but if I don't, I'm going to sell it. So yeah, I would not recommend a seasonal bag for your very first one. I would really recommend something more classic, something that feels classic to you at least. I would also stay away from velvet. I would stay away from exotic leathers. Again, for your first bag. I would stay away from patent leather for sure. I don't know if you guys know this, but patent leather is nearly impossible to restore or fix if it gets scratched or stained. With leather, you can send it out to professional leather experts and they could potentially fix it up, clean it up for you. But with patent leather is notoriously difficult and super high maintenance. And yeah, I would not recommend patent leather either. So I hope that is a little bit helpful to give you a perspective. And then let's talk about budget. Budget is important, of course. You need to have the money. I do not encourage anyone to spend money they don't have. I do not think that going into debt of any kind is worth it to have a designer bag, clothes, shoes, anything. It will feel better once you earn it and you can afford it. Okay, so that's my personal take on it. I'm 40 years old now. It took me a while to accumulate these bags, and I focused much more on saving and investing before I started spending and getting into all this, frivolous, fun shopping stuff. So just that's my 2 cents. Take it or leave it. But of course, budget is important, and it depends. If you wanted to get a Celine bag, you're talking almost $4,000 for this box bag. Whereas the Pochette Matisse is going to be under $2,000. The Saint Laurent is going to be closer to $1,000. Of course, you can also go pre-loved. You have to be careful. Some of the bags on the pre-loved market, because they're so highly sought after, they're actually going to be marked up above retail. I personally would not recommend paying above retail. Something bothers me about the idea of paying more than anyone else in the world to get just, a bag. It's a bag. You can move on, get something else, right? So yeah, I made that mistake once and then I returned the bag, and long story short, I have no regrets. So this one, like I said, the classic flap, I did get pre-loved. I got it for a really good price, but I bought it because the price was right, but that wasn't the main reason. It was because I just was so smitten with this bag and it looked perfect. It was in the right condition that I wanted and the right combination of colors. It spoke to me. So I think budget, not that it's the last factor, but it should be one of the last factors, because if you have saved up the money, it's just a matter of which one is now the right one for you. Don't just buy the cheapest thing that you can afford. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, and then lastly, I do want to address research, like I mentioned. YouTube, Instagram, Pinterest, in boutique experiences, go in there, try them on, feel the material. I don't think that I would have bought some of these bags if I didn't feel them and just fall in love with them as I touched and smelled them. It's like it's a sensory experience. It's a whole body experience, at least for me. On the pre-loved market, I will say, personally, I like to stick to the more credible online sites. I have purchased a few of these bags from Fashion File. I bought the classic flap, my Chanel wallet on chain, and my Celine box bag, as well as the Valentino bag back there, all on Fashion File. Then I got this clutch here from Rebag recently. I have videos on all of these. If you missed them, you can go check them out. So for Fashion File and Rebag so far, overall, I've had positive experiences. They do guarantee authenticity for life. And so as long as they're in business, they will refund your money if you can prove that the bag is not authentic. Rebag also issues their very own authenticity cards. Like for this, for example, I got the Chanel authenticity card, the original one that comes with the bag. And then I also received a separate authenticity guarantee card from Rebag. Fashion File doesn't do that, but their policy is that if the bag is found to be a fake, you get your money back, no matter how long it's been. I know that some people have had good experiences with Yugi's Closet. I have not tried them. There's also the Real Real. I have heard some really mixed reviews on the Real Real, so I am probably going to stay away for the foreseeable future. And then there's also eBay, and I know people rave about the Japanese resellers on the eBay market. Japanese people, they go through trends very quickly. They're very kind of ahead of trends. They are very much on top of like what's new. And so they cycle through, just overall, I don't want to generalize, but overall, the Japanese culture, they do sort of cycle through their designer items fairly quickly. And so there are a lot of really pristine condition, well-priced, well-maintained bags on the pre-loved market. But I am too afraid to purchase anything on eBay. I sold a few bags, some old Gucci bags, many, many years ago, like 3 or 4 Gucci bags on eBay when eBay was like the thing. And now, I don't know, I feel like it's gotten a little bit more sketchy. So unless you have an eye for things and you are really good about checking the reviews and checking their reputation and zooming in on all the photos and making sure they look accurate and all of that, unless you've got an eagle eye, I would probably stay away from eBay, just me because I'm a chicken. And then there are also Instagram resellers. I had a terrible experience where I purchased or I paid for a Chanel mini rectangular flap and I never received it. And it turned out the person or the group that was on Instagram was actually, it was like a ring of fraudulent, they're scammers basically. So I never got my money back. I never got my bag. So lesson learned, but I don't want to give a bad rap to the legit Instagram sellers out there because there are some really, really legit ones. They all call themselves personal shoppers. That's what my person said they were, but they turned out to be a scam artist. But I do think there are legit ones. So just go onto Instagram if you're interested. Ask people you know. Make sure you check with at least a couple of people who have purchased from them to make sure that they are legitimate and safe to purchase from. I am like super, super conservative and really chicken. So the fact that I got scammed on Instagram really bugs me because it was the only time I've ever got scammed in my life and it still leaves a sour taste in my mouth. So anyway, I digress. And then let's talk about sales. A lot of these bags I purchased on sale, if not on the pre-loved market. So I do use Rakuten for cashback. If I'm buying anything from a department store like Nordstrom's, Neiman Marcus, Barney's, Saks, they usually have some percentage of cashback. When I got my Saint Laurent Toy Lulu, I think it was from Neiman Marcus or Nordstrom's, they were doing 10% cashback. So I saved over $100 on this piece here. So definitely check Rakuten if you don't have, it's just an app for cashback. They used to be called Ebates, and then they, I guess, changed their name. And then right now there seem to be a lot of sales because the department stores are struggling with what's happening right now, and they're just, their sales are plummeting. So check on their sites. Maybe they're having a friends and family discount week or promotions. So always be on the lookout. I feel like even if you have the money, it's always nice to save some money, right? Why pay the full price if you don't have to? Okay, so I know that was kind of a lengthy conversation, but I hope that you got something out of everything I shared here. I hope it was helpful. Chloe, I hope this video answered your questions. Like I said, narrow it down by brand, then design, then choose your style, color, material, then think about your budget and research. So if you narrow it down to, let's say, 3 to 5 bags that you feel really good about, go nuts and research like crazy until you feel really comfortable. Try on the bags in person if you can, and then make your decision. Okay, so thank you so much if you made it this far. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up so that I know you enjoyed it. If you are new to my channel and you enjoy watching designer luxury content, I would love for you to subscribe and join in on the fun. Thanks so much. Till next time. Bye-bye.